Looking for your next great hire but short on time? You just need the right tools, smarter tools. ZipRecruiter posts your job to over 100 job boards with just one click. Then they actively look for the most qualified candidates and invite them to apply. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Right now, our listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Stephen A. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Stephen A.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. To the phones we go right here in the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Let's go to Nathan in Jersey. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Nathan.
Hey, boss. Thanks for taking the call.
Go
I
ahead,
appreciate
man.
it. Yeah, much like the banking crisis in 2008, I think a lot of these colleges are seen as too big to fail, and I reject that notion. I would love to get your take on this. If let's say everything, and the other day in court turns out to be true with Michigan State, they shut down the entire college, and you can't do it overnight. You can't shock the system. With students, you'll give them okay, you can either continue to get your credits and degree online or something, or we can have a system that transfers you to another college and will help you with that. Teachers, professors, here's your 3 years notice, this and that. We're not taking any more freshmen, and we are shutting down the entire school. I think that would send a message. I think that's exactly what needs to happen. That's what they deserve.
Whoa. It would definitely shock the system. It would definitely have a profound impact, no doubt. But whether it's, and I'm just speaking hypothetically here because I don't know, women's basketball, gymnastics, sure, soccer, volleyball, wrestling. Let's just say for the sake of argument, there's a myriad of other programs that have absolutely nothing to do with this, who never did anything wrong. And students, particularly those in the state of Michigan, who absolutely love this institution and have nothing to do with it. What about them?
I totally get that, and that's why I don't think you can shut. I think you need to accommodate them in every way possible. I think you need to either give them a refund if they want, or a system where they can all their credits are transferable. They get their degree.
I gave you that analogy because they went to Michigan State for a reason. In other words, they could go to another institution. They always could. But what if they want to be there? They don't want to go anywhere else, and they had nothing to do with this. What then?
Sorry, look what happened to the university you went to, and
hold on. Well, the reason I'm asking you that question, Nathan, what's wrong with sitting there? I'm not saying I agree with you or disagree with you because I think we need to find more evidence. But what I'm saying to you is what's wrong with them saying the football program, the basketball program, and your gymnastics program is dead? Why does it have to be the whole damn institution?
Because it's not sending a message. It's a slap on the wrist.
Hold on. Did you just say that suspending a football program and a basketball program, considering the millions upon millions of dollars that they bring in, along with the gymnastics program, did you just say that's not sending a message?
Stephen A., they were little girls. This is
Excuse me. I pointed to the evil where it was committed. Gymnastics is where it pertained to the little girl. With the football and basketball program, that's adults. But my point to you is young adults. But my point to you is if hypothetically speaking, somebody said the football program, the basketball program, and the gymnastics program is done, how is that not enough?
Because I think that the college itself is an entity that happened under the umbrella of the college. If that's going on at that college, send a message that you can't have that in a
All
business.
right, did you feel that way about Penn State?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's fair. No, that's fair. I don't agree with you in terms of how far you want to go, but that's fair, and your position is consistent, and I will not disrespect and dismiss that position, Nathan. I won't do it because it's fair.
And real quick, if I may, I think if that, let's say Penn State did get shut down completely. You're not telling me that other presidents of other major colleges go to athletic directors and say, this stops right now. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, but you know what, Nathan, I'm going to interrupt you by saying this. You know what the problem is with your argument? They could say this stops right now. But remember, Larry Nassar and this situation was going on for the last 20 years. So what if those folks go to the athletic director and say this stops now? You're still absolving stuff for years and years of things that took place. That's the point that I'm trying to make. You know how many universities you're going to have to do that to? I'm not sure I agree. I am sure. I don't agree with that. But I understand your point, and it is consistent, and I can respect it. Appreciate the call. 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Home Insurance. Getting a quote is easier than ever before. Lots of stuff to get into with this particular subject. Hour number 2, I'm going to get into the Cavs and some of their issues as well, plus some Super Bowl talk, but not before I get to Ryan Smith, our legal analyst for ESPN. He's up next to talk about what's going on in Michigan State. Don't touch that dial. It's Stephen A., ESPN Radio.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
23 minutes past hour. Number 2 this morning on ESPN Radio. Number to call up as always is 888-729-3776. It's 888-SAY-ESPN. I'll get back to the calls in a moment. Tom Brady made news. Patriots send off. They're at Super Bowl now, getting ready to do what they do. Obviously, Super Bowl 52 is this week, but Tom Brady made news for another reason this morning. Tom Brady makes a weekly appearance on WEEI in Boston. And he had a problem with what one of its hosts said, or its fill-in host. Apparently, he cut short his weekly interview Monday morning on sports radio WEEI, saying he was disappointed that one of the station's hosts previously made disparaging remarks about his 5-year-old daughter when discussing the Tom versus Time documentary. Listen to what Tom Brady had to say.
I've tried to come on this show for many years and showed you guys a lot of respect. I've always tried to come on and, do a good job for you guys. So, it's very disappointing when you hear that, certainly with my daughter or any child, they certainly don't deserve that. So I'll obviously evaluate whether I want to come on this show again. So I really don't have much to say this morning.
That's fine. I understand. That's totally fine.
I will, maybe I'll speak with you guys some other time.
Absolutely fine. We understand. All right, Tom, you too.
The thing that Tom Brady was alluding to was a host by the name of Alex Reimer, R-E-I-M-E-R. I don't know the man. He called Tom Brady's 5-year-old daughter an annoying little pissant. That's a quote. See, this is difficult because, I've had my issues with a particular host on WEEI or whatever, and I'm not going to go into all of that. I just don't go back on there. But I don't want to encourage anybody to have negativity towards the station because, to be quite honest with you, I've been on there on many occasions before that incident. And a lot of the guys seem to be really great guys. They obviously do a fantastic job covering sports as a radio station in the city of Boston. And I'm not here, nor am I in the position to speak from a knowledgeable perspective about who they are and what they are, whatever the case may be. People have complained about being blindsided, coming on there to talk about one thing, and all of a sudden something else comes up, which was my issue. But that in no way should cast aspersions on an entire station. But I have to say, something like this could. This gentleman, Alex Reimer, supposedly has been suspended for a week, meaning that he won't be part of the coverage for the Super Bowl. I'm not going to say what should be done to Alex because, personally speaking, I don't enjoy contributing to money being taken out of anybody's pocket. And I'm certainly not going to be up here saying that somebody in their mid-20s, because that's how I'm told how old he is, whatever. I'm not going to go there. But I do think it's fair to ask the radio host this question. A 5-year-old child? What's inside of you that you would think it's remotely okay to say something like that publicly about a 5-year-old child? I'm not even getting into the fact that it's Tom Brady's daughter who contributes to your station, who comes on every week. And obviously that's a very, very big deal in the Boston area, considering the fact that you got the greatest quarterback possibly ever as a weekly guest on your radio station. What I would say instead is, forget all of that. She's 5 years old. She's 5 years old. Who does that? Who does that? There's nothing inside of you that said, damn, she's 5 years. She's a 5-year-old child. I'll leave it at that. To go any further than that is to cast aspersions on a station that I otherwise respect, that I'm quite sure has a lot of good people. And for all we know, maybe Alex is a really good person that just made an honest mistake. But she's 5 years old, bro. She's 5. More to Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio in a minute.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! Flowers.com has the Valentine's gifts you'll love. Right now, you can get 12 multicolored roses for only $19.99 or double it to 24 multicolored roses for only $10 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Plus, another note to throw your way. Golic, as in Mike Golic and Trey Wingo. In the Zone is brought to you by AutoZone. Remember, that's something that they do. They got the morning show. So we want to make sure that we remind all of y'all, Golic and Wingo. They're in the zone, and it's brought to you by AutoZone, reminding you that Golic and Wingo will be live from Minneapolis beginning Wednesday for coverage of the big game. Get in the zone! AutoZone. That's Wingo and Golic. Golic and Wingo. I mean, sometimes people, like, first names, or whatever. Whose name comes first? Who cares? Golic and Wingo, Wingo and Golic. It's all the same. It's all the same, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the phones we go. Let's go to Lawrence in Texas. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Lawrence.
Hey, Stephen A. I have a question for you. Do you think out of all these victims, over 160 of them, that none of these kids or anything like that came to their parents and told them what had happened to them? And the same thing with Michigan. None of these people had gone to their parents or anything like that, told them what happened to them.
Stop right there. What are you trying to say? Because the fact is, many of them said they did go to their parents. Many of the parents said they spoke to the university. So what I'm asking you is, what exactly are you getting at? Get to the point.
That I'm saying that's why, like, these presidents and stuff like that, that's how they were able to keep it going for so long. I'm saying that they probably paid the families off, and kept it hush hush, and that's how these people get away with it.
So in other words, let me get this straight. As the Attorney General of the state is investigating the matter, as Outside the Lines and other outlets are just delving deeper into this, as we're in search of transactions or what have you, with no proof whatsoever, what you're saying is that the parents probably were in on it too, because they ultimately got paid off by the university, which is why it took us so long to find out, because the parents got paid off. That's what you're trying to say.
Well, I mean, if I am
Don't
a
stutter.
father,
Answer the question. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's possible, yeah.
Okay. Have a nice day. We understand. Listen. Is it possible? I guess. But with no evidence whatsoever, with over 150 people giving testimony against Nassar, I think if folks had been paid off, we would have heard something about that. That's just a guess. I mean, it's not like the story just came out. The man has been convicted and essentially received 2 life sentences, because one's for 60 years, and he ain't going to live to 60 years, and then a 40 to 175 was tacked onto that. And over the course of all of that testimony, which he was crying to the judge that he didn't want to hear, you're trying to tell me that parents might have been paid off, but nobody knows. Okay. Jordan in Washington, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, Stephen A? How you doing, brother?
Go ahead. What's up, man?
Yeah, it made me sick to my stomach because my sister and my sister went through something like that and never got her justice. When they do it, when you're doing that on a forum as a physician, they're breaking trust with other people. You ladies can't trust their physicians now because things like this is happening and people are getting hurt by it. My daughter went through the same similar thing a couple years ago, many years ago. Somebody was living with us who we thought was a good friend. The sheriff showed up to my office. The sheriff showed up to our house, and come to find out he's a convicted sex offender. He always will like to watch the kids and not have an issue. So I had to go take her to the hospital. And all my life of having to do something that was so scary, that was the most scariest thing I had to go through. For him to get that and then him to cry, have the nerve to cry after doing this stuff to this girl, and as that lady was saying, how he sexually assaulted her while her mom was in the room, that is just sick. How do you cry? And on top of that, the tax now he's still getting away with it because the taxpayers in Michigan now have got to pay for him to
Whoa. He's not getting away with it. You're not getting away with it when you got to do 60 years plus 40 plus to 175 years. You're not getting away with it when you're going to be in jail with a bunch of the fellas that's going to deal with you. That's probably why he was crying, because he knows what's coming up. He knows what's coming his way. I appreciate the call, Jordan. Thank you so much. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Your calls to close out the show in a minute. You are listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch to Progressive can save an average of $620. Back to the phones we go. Before we get on out of here for the day, let's go to Kevin in Pennsylvania. You're live with Stephen A. Go ahead, Kev.
Good morning, Stephen A. I want to change the flow. I want to talk about the fact about Kevin Love. There's some facts that cannot be denied. Kevin Love does not give effort like he should. At the opening tap of the game, he has refused to even jump in the air to try to even get the opening tap. That's one. Two, and if the year that the Cavs won the NBA Finals, this man got paid $22 million and averaged 7 points and 5 rebounds in the NBA Finals and shot 38%.
Who's that?
3, Kevin Love.
Okay, go ahead.
Richard Jefferson contributed more to that NBA Finals, and he's not here no more.
Okay.
Number 3, when it comes to Isaiah Thomas, I guarantee you will never see him do what Kevin Love does on defense. Kevin Love literally watches his man go to the hoop and dunk, and he'll watch your man go to the hoop and dunk, and that fact is buttressed by the point that Ryan Hollins made when he said Kevin Love got him posterized because he let his man walk right to the hoop, and Ryan Hollins came to cover and he got dunked on. Reggie Miller also called him out. Kevin Love is really afforded a blanket because very few times will you see a Tim Lager point out Kevin Love not running back, but he'll point out a LeBron James. If you follow the film, Kevin Love on at least 5 times a game jogs back on defense.
Stop right there. I've listened to enough. Here's the reality, Kevin. Kevin Love has always received a pass because Kevin Love has never played defense. Kevin Love has never been gifted defensively. What Kevin Love is a walking double-double. He's a guy that's capable of averaging 20 and 10, and he's a big boy who can shoot the 3. And because of that, people look past other things. That happens from time to time. It is what it is, but you're absolutely right. You're not wrong. There are things that you can look at on the film that shows that he slips up, particularly defensively, and that there's a concerted effort that he is sorely lacking. There's no doubt about that, but that was always the case with him, and it was long before he arrived in Cleveland. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Billy in South Carolina. You're live with Stephen A. Go ahead, Billy. Billy, go ahead. Billy, your signal's really bad. Sorry, buddy. You messed up. Alex in Texas, you're live with Stephen A. Go ahead.
Stephen, long-time listener, first-time caller. Just wanted to say, me being a father and having a daughter, same thing with Michigan State. If I had complained to the administration and gone to whoever that I needed to go to, and I see this guy coaching in the Olympics and years from now and continuing doing these things where he's getting all this publicity, how am I not going to law enforcement? And out of 150 families, how did some of these people not go to the law enforcement, or how did this not become public? From Michigan State, stemming back to Baylor, stemming back to Penn State. How are these things just hidden in society?
I don't have the answer to that question. I just know if it was my daughter, he'd be more worried about me than authorities. I can tell you that much. I can tell you that much right now. He'd be more worried about me than the authorities.
Anything.
And I think any father that just heard what I had to say can relate to exactly what I'm trying to imply. I appreciate the call. Jay in San Diego, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Jay, go.
Hey, what's going on, Stephen A., man? What's happening, man?
I'm good.
I appreciate you taking my call.
Go ahead, man.
Hey, this is my deal. Anytime, you hear about these, sexual scandals or whatever it may be at these universities, I want to know why it is that the powers that be aren't held accountable. Yeah, they resigned, this and that and the other. I think anybody that knows that anything malicious, as far as sexual abuse or anything that's done to a child or a student should be held as a co-conspirator, when it comes to these types of things. I just don't understand it, bro.
I got you. I appreciate it, man. I understand it. A lot of answers we need to have that we don't have. No question. Steve in Mississippi, you're live with Stephen A. Go ahead.
Yeah, along that last caller, what I can't understand is when they put a school on probation, why put the school on probation and make the fans suffer and everybody involved, even the players, except for the ones that's involved? Why don't they just get rid of the heads of the universities and stuff?
Well, you know what they're trying to say. What they're trying to say is that, this is not an institution that needs to have fans. This is not an institution that needs to be rooted for. I tend to agree with you. I get where you're coming from, but you do have an abundance of people who feel otherwise. That's where they're coming from with that. Those are the kind of things that they say.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, buddy. Let's go to Daryl in Virginia. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Daryl, go ahead.
Yeah, I think if the Cavaliers really want to keep LeBron James, they should offer him part ownership of the team.
Well, you're not allowed to do that for a player while he's playing.
Well, they doing it. What's the difference with John Gruden? I hear they offer him part ownership.
Well, no. That was false, because the reality is, for what I was told, John Gruden asked for it. Raiders ownership was willing to do it, but that was immediately shot down by the league.
Oh,
that can't happen.
Okay.
Well,
thanks for taking my call.
All right. I mean, in the place of the coach, it could potentially happen, but not with a player. A player can't be owned an ownership stake in the team while they're playing. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Roger in Illinois real quick. You only got a minute. Go ahead, Roger.
Hey, Stephen A., I'm a 26-year veteran from the Department of Corrections.
Yes, sir.
Believe me, Nassar his day is coming, and he will have his day. Trust me.
I know that.
They always do, and I've seen it, and he will be. He's going to pay. He's going to pay.
I got you. I know. I mean, it ain't hard to figure out. He's going to play. He's fresh meat for them dudes. They wait for him to come to prison. Don't worry about Larry Nassar. He's done. He's done, y'all. Don't you worry about it one bit. Andy in Ohio, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Andy, go.
Stephen A., I heard you last week mention Damian Lillard, and I've been trying to get this point across to anybody that will listen. I believe he's the only piece left that the Cavs can possibly try and get to keep LeBron in Cleveland. I'm dying to hear your answer to this.
I can tell you this. I'd love Damian Lillard with LeBron. Damian Lillard is a baller, A. And B, the moment does not shrink him. He rises to the occasion in the moment. That cannot be ignored. I would love Damian Lillard on the Cavs. I just don't think they have enough to give Portland for him. I can't see that happening, but you just never, ever know. You just never, ever know. Something to think about, though, no doubt. Super Bowl week is here. We will be talking more and more about the game between the Eagles and the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 52 coming up as the week progresses. Until then, I'll holler at y'all. 22 hours from now, it's the Stephen A. Smith Show. Signing off. Peace and love. Until then.
Hey, it's Will Cain. Right after Stephen A., it's the Will Cain Show on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Hang around. I think you'll like it.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.